Oh wait, is this thing on for real? Oh, Jesus. Anyway, today I want to talk to you about nunchakus. Oh, never mind. That's a different chain. No, seriously, I have this pink guitar strap. I have this pink guitar strap. It is by Dean Markley, and it is attached to the most bizarre guitar in the world. Lisa here, ooh, I can't fit myself in, but this here is my pink 24 fret HM Strat. It has a rosewood neck. See, a rosewood. It has a really interesting neck. It is unfinished and they call it a velveteen finish. You could feel the skunk stripe in the back, and for anybody that don't know what a skunk stripe is, that is where the truss rod is located that you adjust through this little hole right there at the top. Hard to see unless you know what you're looking for. And then the logo is simply a Strat. And of course Fender, the venerable Fender. And ooh, it does have a little bit of road wear. This guitar has been on a few stages with me. This has a licensed Kahler. Well, actually, it's a Kahler bridge, but licensed with Floyd Rose technology. So you get a little bit of the best of both worlds. So basically, you put your strings in through there and there, and then you tune the sucker up. No, it's not that easy. But I do a little trick here that nobody in the world does. Is because at this end, you have to clip off the ball ends. My thinking is, once you clip off the ball ends, you are losing a point of stability in the strings. So what I decided to do is I put the ball ends here. So I reverse threaded the guitar. So basically, even though this is a locking nut that provides stability, tone is based on string stability. And by not allowing for string slippage as much, because the ball ends are right here, this makes for a better overall stability of the string structure. So therefore, when you clip the ends of the strings right here, you're not clipping the ball ends off because the ball ends are still there. So now you have more stability. Okay, so some more about this guitar. This thing has an extremely flat neck. It's kind of hard to tell by the video, but in order to play it, you must employ more like classical guitar technique. You can't grip it like a baseball bat. And only guitarists will know what I mean by baseball bats. And as a musician, you always have to have plenty of beer around. Just get the cheap stuff, because if you get the good stuff, you're going to get drunk and you can't play. So anyway, so what I ended up doing on this little monstrosity is I put in Fender lace sensors. I experimented with so many pickup variations, because another thing about this guitar here is, even though it's solid as heck, it is a basswood body, and the tone is a different tone than alder and other type of bodies. And so what I ended up doing was, this guitar originally came with Jeff Beck pickups, but they had to call them JB Specials because Jeff Beck was under some kind of artist agreement that he couldn't even use his name to endorse product, which is really messed up. So they called them JB pickups, and they were like black looking things, and it kind of looked very cool on this guitar, and to me they just didn't cut it. Sorry, Jeff Beck, I love your playing, you know. Well, anyway, I won't try to play Scattered Brain only because I cannot. But I think I do remember some Constipated Duck, but that's another different story. But so anyway, so what I ended up doing was, this here is not what you call a dually. These are two single lace sensors, and this one's a blue one, this one's a gold one, this one's a red one, and that's another red one. I experimented quite a bit with the placements, and I've probably had about 20, 30, well, maybe about 20 pickups in this guitar till I kind of settled on this configuration. And then this is one advantage of going to DeVry. That's why my mother sent me to DeVry. Is just kidding about, well, you know, it had nothing to do with guitars. But so anyway, in going to DeVry, you learn how to wire these things up. You could wire them up in series and parallel and variations of in between. And so, like, for instance, this switch, this 5-way selector switch still does operate in a fairly standard fashion. I haven't hooked this thing up to an amp in years, so I can't tell you the exact configuration I have it anymore. I would have to actually dissect and pull out the back plate to figure out how I wired this thing. But all I can tell you is, for right now, is it rocks. And so basically is like, I have the 5-way selector is fairly standardized, that in that it'll select between that, and then I think, and it's been so many years, that here, this is something unique totally to me. You have never seen this before. This is actually a push, I want to say push-pull, but it's not a push, there's no pulling. But if you push it, I think it's a double pull, double throw switch in there, and it does something to the configuration of the pickups. And then here, and I forget exactly what I did, but see, this here is another double pull, double throw. You don't, you know, and you can't see it. And then this one here is a triple throw action. You have a throw on the bottom, middle, and going up. And then here, this is the master volume. I have a metal speed knob on there, so you could do thingies like, and turn it with your pinky. Did you hear that? Just kidding, it's not plugged in. No, so I have rapid access to that. And then right here, this is a little thing that I developed from working at Fender. This is a some kind of TBX control, and it's a split coil, and these two are wired in tandem, and this one rolls off the high end, and this one rolls off the low end, and so you have a lot more range of tonal possibilities using this little baby, and I'm kind of like the balls to the walls kind of guy that usually everything is turned up. I was told the other day that, like, damn, you have hot pickups, and that's what I go for. I go for the hot pickup sound because see, you could always back off a sound by just playing softer. But you cannot compensate for lack of pickup wattage or whatever you want to call it, you know. So if you need to make something balls to the wall, you're not going to be able to do it if you don't have hot pickups. But then there's also the balance of tonality versus hot. So this is kind of why I went with the blue and the gold and the red and the red. And I don't even know why I chose those anymore, because we're talking 1995. But I trust that. And see, this guitar, first of all, when I first met it, I thought it was ugly as hell. I thought it was ugly as hell. But I really was checking out a another unit. Don't we all fall into that station in life? You're checking out another unit, and then you fall in love with another unit. Now I was really checking out a reverb unit because I was running sound in Chicago, and and the only way I know to check reverb units, even though they were for vocals, is by plugging a guitar into it because I actually understand reverb units, and I won't get into that. But so I said to George, "Hey George, let me check out the reverb units," and he's like, "Okay," because he always knew I was a serious buyer, and he knew I would walk away either that day or the next day buying something. And so anyway, so I was checking out reverb units, and he hands me this monstrosity. I mean, look at it. It's pink. It's pink. Damn it! It's not a guitar. It's pink. So, well, technically the color is raspberry, but for a while in Chicago, I was known as the guy with the pink guitar. Even in Arizona, I had a pink amplifier. Um, oh, of course, I already said pink guitar strap, and and you know, luckily, like nobody ever, like thought much of it other than, hey, he does what he does. No, I won't. No. So anyway, so so I'm like playing this guitar, and I'm like, wow, this neck is very, very weird because it's thin. Look at it. Look at it. Just look at it. Just look at it. It is thin. I mean, it's thinner than lunch meat. You could make a sandwich out of it. No, seriously, it's very, very thin. And oh, and again, it's 24 fret, which is one reason why I never wanted to replace my Mockingbird. But this actually has a very cool and groovy contour that you could actually access the 24 frets all the way up to the top. And in case you don't know, see, there's a dual fret marker right there for 24 frets. See, there's 12, the octave mark, and and see the dual marks there. There's none there because you'll run out of fretboard. No, just kidding. Well, and my guitar teacher, he actually used to say, like, what do you need 24 frets for? You gonna play for fucking fleas? Well, I rarely went that high, but I would routinely like play. See, you're in the flea range. This is like what's called the Ted Nugent range. We won't talk about him. I used to love the guy, not anymore. Anyway, so no, this is really, really, really an awesome guitar that has been heavily modded by me. It's influenced by the Mockingbird in terms of tone taps and phase switches and lions and tigers and bears, and it really has a very, very decent tremolo system. The only drawback about this guitar is changing strings, and if you're good like me, I'm not that good right now, but if you're good like me, you could change a string within one song. And I, as a lead guitarist in the bands I was in, we always had what I would call a fallback song, where if I break a string, I would make it through the song with a broken string, and then if I needed more time and I only had one guitar on me, they would play the songs that I hated, like such as like Michelle Mabel. Well, actually, I like it now, but at the time I didn't. There's a lot of other songs that I didn't like that they wanted to play, so they were always on the deck, ready to go fallback songs. And but then at other gigs I would have like two or three. Well, usually two guitars, not three, because most gigs, and this is a sad state of reality in the music world, is I never would bring two nice guitars to a gig in case one got lost, stolen, damaged, or got trampeded by the crowd or something. No, because I mean, when you're playing music for love as opposed to playing music for money, it's not worth losing your loved ones. Because see, this thing really here is a loved one, and this guitar actually almost made it on stage to the Plasmatics. For anybody who knows about Wendy O. Williams and her antics in the punks and rock scene in the late '90s or early '90s, and no, but really, I'm going to be parting with this beauty. I wish I could keep it forever, but I don't have infinite storage and infinite time. So I just wanted to talk about this beauty, and maybe I shall name her Katrina. I hereby dub thee Katrina because Katrina is the girl that wanted to buy this guitar, and she worked at Guitar Shack, and she said, like, "Hey, I wanted to buy that guitar." And I'm like, I know, I heard about it, and I said I don't want to buy it now, and she's like, well, I can't afford it, and I'm like, are you sure? And she gave me her blessing, because to be honest, I would not have bought this thing if she didn't give me her blessing, because this has good guitar karma. It went with her blessing, and the very last thing as far as guitar karma goes is she worked at the guitar store, and so when I purchased the guitar, and it was not a cheap guitar. I bought it in 1995, approximately, in Arlington Heights Guitar Shack, and Katrina was working there, and damn it, I knew I should have hit on her, but I never did. I didn't even have a girlfriend at the time, and I didn't hit on her. I kicked myself in the butt for that. But anyway, no, she said I can't afford it. You go ahead and buy it. And she was the salesperson, so at least she got a commission in selling it to me. So it was the best of the worst situation that she at least got a commission and made some money off of me getting it. And we kind of considered each other friends and all that. And she helped me on numerous sales and purchases, and there was good vibes. We both respected each other's playing, but she could shred way better than me. She was the first girl I ever saw play Eruption by Van Halen, and back in 1995, it was a new technique, and it was just really, really interesting, to be able to see a girl that could play that. And I hate to use the term a girl because she's just a musician, and because the reality is I only met like one other musician that could play Eruption, and she was the second musician, and she just was totally awesome. And I wish I could reach out to her and say, hey, Katrina, you want to get this again? But this guitar might actually, if fate goes correctly, it might end up in the hands of some girl who's a budding young musician, and we will see about that. But this thing is really, really flat neck, and if you notice, you could cut butter with this. No, look at the string height. I mean, you don't get much better than this, and I could talk about this for days. Oh yeah, and by the way, this has strap locks. Excuse me. You can't. This guitar will not fall off your neck unless you're watching like one of those movies where they chop your head off. Then it'll fall. But did you hear that affirmative click? And these strap locks are the best. I recommend them. Because then you could do that thing where they twirl the guitar around your neck. And then the idiots that try that on YouTube, they don't have the strap locks. But anyway, we'll talk about that. No, but seriously, very, very cool guitar. And like Carol Burnett says, I'm so glad we had this time together. Oh, this is one last thing. Is very few guitars where you could, I wish, right here, it's going to be hard to illustrate this on video, but this is one of those very few guitars where you could put your palm here as you're picking, and you could mute the strings. You hear that? Mute. Mute. That gives you double the number of intonalities or tonal variations in amplitude and timbres that make a difference in playing. So some guitars will not allow you to do the muting technique. So that was another major factor in me. You can see right there, see my hand resting right on the bridge. Makes a huge difference in tonalities. I mean, you know, and see, that's where Jeff Beck comes in, and he does all sorts of dampening techniques, and like Gatton did, and you know, there's a lot of people, Joe Pass, that do all these dampening techniques, and I'm sure there's some heavy metal people out there that do that too, but this is another cool thing about this guitar. And the more I'm talking about it, I'm like, damn, maybe I shouldn't sell it. I'm gonna miss you, baby. No, well, but anyway, I will, only if it goes to the right person. And out.